Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Elite 2 podcast. I'm Brandon, and I'm with Logan again. How are you?
Back again, once again. I'm good.
We're very Christmassy. I have my Happy Holidays mug with my Christmassy background.
And I have the Christmas cat.
Yes, the Christmas cat, as they say. So, what's new? Anything new with you, Pokemon related?
I'm still playing through the post game of Pokemon White for all those y'all who are following the saga. I forgot you had to use Waterfall in the post game, so I had to bring my
HMs.
Gyarados. I know I had to bring Gyarados because my Schwana couldn't learn Waterfall.
Your
Um,
shawarma.
my shawarma couldn't learn it. But it was good. So it's been fun. I went to White Forest. Now I'm going into the second place. I forgot how pointless White Forest is now in 2023 because it's based on like this Eternal Link online thing that does not exist anymore. So it's kind of a pointless area now. So going to go do the. Basically, my plan is to do the last two cities, probably train my Pokemon to an appropriate level so I could battle the Elite Four again, so I can fight the champion Alder, and then after I do that, I'm gonna probably drop the game and move on to the next one. But
There
yeah,
you go. Alrighty. Well, um, first thing on our agenda today with regards to news is Typhlosion Raids. I believe Typhlosion ends the day of recording, so it ends today, the 12th, I believe. We did some, we're over on Twitch, and we did some Typhlosion Raids last night. Uh, we we struggled a little bit at first, and then I came around and eventually got there. But what were your thoughts on Typhlosion?
but like the experience of actually beating Typhlosion finally together was actually really fun. Um, it took a while to figure out how to do it though. Um, and it ended up me bringing for those of y'all who did miss the stream. Ended up being you know those of y'all who missed the stream, um, who didn't get 2.5 hours in, was I took Mew to it even though it was weak to Infernal Parade, and just hit click Snarl continuously, and that lowered the special attack enough to where it didn't matter that I had a weakness. But then it also made Brandon's Kyogre um, very resilient to his attack. So it made it so he was able to get off a few more Origin Pulses than otherwise would have, and barely beat it, barely.
Right.
But it was a lot of fun. I think it was doable enough to where it was enjoyable. I played a couple more single ones, and it was fun. It was really good time. It wasn't overly difficult, but it was hard enough to be fun. So it was good.
Yeah. My thoughts on the difficulty of Typhlosion, I'm frustrated with the game because, yeah, the raids were fun. I enjoyed them. We did them together. We had fun. I played them with other people on random, and I had fun. The problem with those raids is the 7-star raids, you pretty much need 4 players, right? To be able to solidly beat the 7-star raids. We even with 2 Kyogres, I think we would have barely got there. I really think we still would have barely got there. And my problem is when you're in when we were in a union circle, a group of 2 people, we could not for the life of us find 2 more players online to jump into our raid. It was almost like we were locked out. And again, I don't know if the people know more about this than me, but in a raid where you need 4 people pretty much to be successful, we felt like we could not get a third and fourth person searching online. And then if we did it outside the union circle, we had to use a link code. And so it was impossible to get a third or fourth person. Whereas if you were to do it solo and just join somebody's raid, you're going to get 4 people. Likely all 4 of them are going to bring Kyogre or something like that, and you're going to beat the raid very easily. In fact, my solo raids were easier than when we did it together because there were 4 players that actually were using good Pokemon. So my struggle with it is like, yes, Pokemon Company, you want people to use your union circle and play together, but if you're gonna make it impossible for a team of 2 to go out and find 2 more randomly over the internet, it makes it very difficult for a team of 2 like us to beat these 7-star raids. And now you're forcing us to just talk on stream while we play solo raids with other people, which is not what you want, I think, as a game designer. So that's my issue with it. I enjoyed the raid. I thought the rewards were good. Lots of fire shards, lots of candies. Again, really liked it. It's just like, please in Gen 10, please let us partner up and still go online and find teams of 2. Like, I know, for example, like, even Unite, right? And this is a completely different game, but, like, Unite, when it does its matchmaking, if you have a team of 2, it will try to search for, like, you'll fill the team every single time, even if you have a team of 2. And to me, it's like, why can't in these raids we fill our team of 4 when we come in with 2? Can't they pair us? There's got to be some other team of 2 in the world somewhere who's doing Typhlosion Raids. Can't you pair us together with another team of 2 or something? And for gosh sakes, can you add a voice chat to these things so I can so maybe if I mean I can turn it off if somebody's being toxic, but it would be very nice to be on a voice call with 2 other people somewhere and say, hey, can you heal cheer, or hey, can you do something or whatever. So I liked the raids, but I'm disappointed in the fact that we could not do them hardly at all as 2 players because we couldn't find 2 other randos to jump in with us. So that was frustrating for me. But overall, I like Typhlosion. It was a good raid. It's a good mon. And it comes fully IV trained with the right moves and the right nature. So it's a good, they give you all that.
Yeah, that's good.
Anyway, do you have any thoughts on that? Do you agree?
Yeah. I mean, so, like, you gotta be able to, like, I don't know why we can't do a party system like every other game. Like, I don't understand why we have to do this weird peer-to-peer, like, connection thing where, like, you could do private parties, but you can't mix your private party with a public party. And if it's a public party, you have to go in solo. I just don't get it. Like, why can't we just have the ability to form literal like individual private parties and then join in as like queuing as 2 instead of queuing as 1?
Right.
Like why does that have to be the way it is? Because every other game is not like that. Like, imagine booting up Warzone and only being able to play with 2 people and then 98 computers if you're duo, but if you're solo, you can play with everybody else. Like, that's so dumb.
That's how it feels in Pokemon right now.
That's how it is in Pokemon. So it is very annoying. I really like. I know that in Pokemon they change the online system every game, every generation, just because I don't know. Like, you had a separate building in Gen 4. You had the Sea Gear in Gen 5. You had the what was the bottom screen in Gen 6? I can't remember. You had the Festival Plaza in Gen 7. You had the YCOM in Gen 8, and now you have Union Circle and Poke Portal in Gen 9. I don't know why you have to brand it all the time. Like, why can't we just have, like, like, you're gonna play online, you have a party, you do it, and it's fine. You can have other features in other games, it's fine. Mm-hmm. But you don't have to rebrand it and make everybody learn how to use a whole new system in online play. Just to make it more difficult to play with everybody. So I think it's pretty tough. Now, like, if you're watching a stream or you're like in like a huge like Discord community that has this huge thing, like, yeah, like that's different, where you'd be able to play with your Discord people and have separate link codes for those. But like,
yeah, but that's like 2% of players. Like,
it's like 2% of players. Like, if you are truly like a casual person, like, you're not gonna have fun with the current way online play is done. So I hope in Gen 10 and any other game that comes out next, they actually make online play like more approachable.
Yeah, I agree. All right, the next thing on our list is the Mega Garchomp raids, which Mega Garchomp. Let me get this pulled up here. Mega Garchomp in Go. So from November 12th, which is today at 10 a.m., which this is hilarious. Okay, I'll get to this. November 12th at 10 a.m. to November 16th at 10 a.m. local time, Mega Garchomp, the Dragon Ground Pokemon originally discovered in Sinnoh, will be in Pokemon Go raids. Now, what's hilarious about this, and it suggests Pokemon to use against it. So it suggested ice types: Shadow Mamoswine, Shadow Weavile, Darmanitan, Mr. Rhyme. So then it gives you suggested fairies and stuff. But first of all, Mega Garchomp looks really cool. Second of all, it's funny because they did this event yesterday, right, from 2 to 5, where they were like, hey, Garchomp's going to be in raids from 2 to 5, and it's like an event thing. And I remember in PKMNcast, they were complaining because they're like, really, you're going to release like a very anticipated Mon just for 3 hours? And then, like, that's all, the only time we're going to be able to get it. But sure enough, they did release it now for another 4 days. So do you think you're going to try it all to go for a Mega Garchomp? If you
Well,
can.
we'll see this afternoon. I might. So is it just like the whole time? Like they're just gonna
Yeah, it
fly?
just says November 12th through the 16th.
I might today. We'll see.
It's just hard. You have to get a lot of people, It's
Yeah,
difficult.
like if you know some spots where people tend to congregate to play, like that's why GoFest was so good, was because like there was a specific time that people knew the raids were coming, so everyone showed up at that time, who was going to play. When the one disadvantage of it being like a weekend or a 4 day time frame is that like you don't know when everyone's going to come and do the raid unless you're part. Again, if you're part of the very tight communities that there are, which again most players aren't. Um, like that is where it gets pretty challenging. But I'll see if there's anyone playing it this afternoon.
Mm.
I'm gonna go out and get the Pokemon and do the thing.
I,
But
I would like to, but again, where I'm at, where am I going to find a group big enough to get
yeah, I
one of these?
know.
Unless
We're gonna have to-
the only way I could do it, which I'm willing to do this if you find one, is just invite me, and I'm willing to use a remote raid pass. If you find one today that has enough people, just like send me an invite, and I'll try to use a remote pass maybe to do it.
okay. No, yeah, because that's a good system. That's fine.
Also, why? That's why people got so mad that they like raised the price and reduced the availability of remote raids because they want people to go out in person. But like, that doesn't just hurt people with disabilities who can't walk around. It also hurts people who live in rural areas who just don't have the communities to be able to play. And so now I'm never going to do raids without your remote raid pass. So you're charging people extra in the areas of the country where they generally have less money, the rural parts of the country. So
Yes.
it's the most regressive thing I've ever seen. Anyway, also I wanted to point out, why does Mega Garchomp look like the Crimson Chin? Like, why did they like give him?
It looks good here.
Like
let me put it up.
they gave him like a Gaston chin.
Yeah, I don't know why they did that. Mega Garchomp
It's
is
cool.
actually competitively worse than the normal Garchomp, believe it or not.
Really?
Like it was never used competitively. It looks cool. It gets a little boost in its stats, but like it's not enough to warrant not having an item. Back in the day, like in Gen 7, nobody ran Mega Garchomp
Really?
at all. They just ran normal Garchomp with the specified item. Because when you Mega Evolve, you have to use up your item slot. So it's interesting. But in Go, I could see it being a lot better just because obviously it's a different combat system in Go. I love Megas in Go. I absolutely adore Megas in Go. I think keeping Megas there, not doing anything relating to Z moves or Dynamax or nothing else. If Mega's home is in Go, and then that's where they're going to do it. I think that's fantastic because if you notice, like all 9 generations of Pokemon are now in Go, outside of a handful from each whatever generation. But like the only gimmick they've come up with is Go, and Go is Megas, and I hope it stays that way because I think Megas are very special. So, keeping it that way, I think it's fun. I do love the design of Mega Garchomp, though. I think
Oh yeah, no, it's great. I do think it's very sleek. Okay, so that's Garchomp. Let's see. So really, that's all the news they wanted. It was kind of a slow news week. I mean, they announced last week the date of the DLC, so I think everybody's just kind of waiting on that. They didn't announce a whole lot more exciting, and so we thought we'd have a little bit of a discussion today, a little bit outside of the normal. Last night on stream, we were talking about. I think we were talking about Haxorus, and I said, wait a minute, Haxorus isn't a pseudo, right? And you said, no, Haxorus isn't a pseudo. And we got to this discussion of, well, what do we think the best pseudo is? And we said there was a lot of different ways you can look at a pseudo, a lot of different categories. And so we thought we'd have a discussion today, because it was a little bit of a slow week, around what we think the best overall pseudo is on various different dimensions. And so I don't know where we want to start, if we want to start on specific dimensions or if we just want to talk kind of freely about it. How do you want to do it?
Well, so I think I'm gonna pull up the list, and I think we need to have a solid 3 or 4 categories. Like we're not gonna go too crazy, but
Okay.
if we can come up with like a top 3 of each category. I think that would be interesting. So, Pseudo, you get the list. All right, I got them. Okay, so just for everyone's awareness of the pseudos. And again, the definition of pseudo legendaries is a fan term that signifies a Pokemon with a higher than normal base stat total.
Mm-hmm. Aren't they normally 600?
It's usually 600, right? And also, some pseudos have megas, so we can talk about that as well. But they gave 4 of the pseudos megas, and they brought the base stat total from 600 to 700.
And they gave one of the pseudos a regional form.
Yes, they did, which we can talk about as well. But just so everyone knows what they are, Gen 1, Dragonite is the pseudo. Gen 2, Tyranitar. Gen 3 had 2, Salamence and Metagross. Gen 4 was Garchomp. Gen 5 was Hydreigon. Gen 6 is Goodra. And then now we have the Hisuian Goodra, which is now another pseudo. Gen 7 had Kommo-oo. Gen 8 had Dragapult, and Gen 9 has Baxcalibur.
Mm-hmm.
So I think definitely when you talk about design, I think design is a big factor. I don't know a whole lot about viability, but
I can talk a little bit to that. Just from what I've seen in the current meta, like in the current, because really what matters is the Regi, current competitive. So
yeah,
we can talk about that.
One other category. What do you think for the last?
I think design, competitive. What else did you say? You said design,
viability.
Design, viability. So that's 2. Maybe typing. Which ones we think maybe have the best typing?
Okay.
And then I think we just need to do like a general cool factor, because I think pseudos are like meant to be flashy and like meant to be exciting. Like I know every time I go into a game and we find, like I remember when I first found Dreepy in Gen 8 and I'm like, I think I found the pseudo, and it's like really exciting to find it. So maybe we do that. So maybe we do like
wow factor.
Yeah, just like the wow factor. So we've got
where you find it. That'd be interesting. Where you find it.
Yeah. So like we've got design, typing, competitive viability, and wow factor. Those are our 4.
All right. Okay. So top 3 out of these ones here. First one with design. I think all of them are above average designs for sure.
Yeah.
But I need to throw out my boy Garchomp here as one of the better ones. Garchomp is notoriously one of the most popular Pokemon in general, mainly because of Cynthia. Cynthia's Garchomp is iconic. And so just on design, being a land shark, I think is really fun. The fins on its side is a really cool design for anime battles. Most battles with Garchomp in the anime were very, very exciting. The only thing with designs for me with Garchomp is I don't like Gibble all that much, and Gabite is kind of awkward. I don't really like Gabite either. So the only issue with Garchomp for me is that I love Garchomp. It's a top tier design, but its whole line is kind of like meh.
Okay.
So that's
by the way, I've got the pictures of all the pseudos just to the right of you on the podcast on Bulbapedia, so everybody can see them so that everybody can see them as you talk on the video podcast.
So what's one that you can throw out there? It's one of the best ones.
Oh boy. Well, we're gonna be different because I just come from a different perspective because I didn't play some of the games, but as far as design, I have always liked Kommo-oo.
Kommo-oo's up there for me.
I just think, I think it fits the gen. I think it's very interesting. It's different. I love Jangmo-oo and Hakamo-oo, and I even think the names are cool. Like I think when you look at design, I think naming is kind of neat, and it fits that Hawaiian culture. So I think for design, I want to put Kommo-oo in there because I think Kommo-oo is great. It's hard for me. I mean, okay, and I have to give a nod, I think, to Gen 9 here. I do think when you pull up and you see an ice an ice Godzilla, it's like, okay, that's pretty cool.
Pretty cool, but Frigibacks, is that what it's called?
Yeah,
Frigibacks
is
is garbage.
yeah, yeah.
'Cause, like-
Arctibax isn't bad.
No, Arctic's not bad at all. The first one sucks.
Yeah. So, what do you? I'd like to get one more for design. So we have Garchomp, Kommo-oo. What's our maybe number 3?
Well, who's better, Garchomp or Kommo-oo?
I think we're gonna disagree. I think you like Garchomp.
No, I would put Kommo-oo above Garchomp. I think I would. I think that for the whole line, I think it's better. I think Kommo-oo's design is so much better. The only one I would throw out there as a top tier design for me would have to be like a tie between T-Tar and Metagross.
Yeah, I agree.
I think Salamence and Dragonite are too basic, even though how much I love those two. Hydreigon, I think, is overrated.
I agree.
Sorry, guys. In terms of design, I think Hydreigon's overrated. And then Dragapult does not, like, when I look at Dragapult, I don't see Pseudo.
Right. Yeah.
But
I think I agree. I think I would give you. I think Metagross is probably a little bit more iconic as far as design than T-Tar. I love T-Tar. Like, personal favorite Pseudo for me is probably Tyranitar, just because I love Gen 2 in general, and it was my first gen. So just personally, I love T-Tar, but I don't know.
I think Metagross is a better line, though.
I mean, I agree. I think Metang is cool. I will say, I do like Larvitar. Larvitar is kind of an iconic beginning
I think
stage.
Cubachar drops it, though.
Yeah. The thing, especially in Unite, when you're hopping around the map on that thing. So we'll say Metagross for number 3. So,
all right.
For design, we had Garchomp, Kommo-oo, Metagross, and we said the winner was Kommo-oo. So what did we say next? Typing?
Typing.
Okay, so
Whew.
I don't think we can pick any of the dragon flying here. because dragon flying is bad. I think
is it just best typing, or is it? So this is viability in typing, so it's both. Okay.
Are we just doing? Should we just do 3 You want to just do competitive / typing, like viability / typing?
Well, I don't know, because like I think cool typing is different than best typing.
I see what you're saying. So do you want to do that? So do you want to do cool typing, and then do you want to do viability as a second category?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so we'll do like cool typing here. What do you think?
Cool typing is easy.
Can I? I mean, I like Dragapult here. Dragon Ghost.
I do. I like that.
I also like Dragon Ice. Baxcalibur. I think is pretty neat. I've always liked Baxcalibur there. And then, of course, it's hard not to say Kommo-oo with Dragon Fighting. I don't know. I also like it when the pseudos, like, I've got to give a nod to Hydreigon because Dragon is not the primary type, which is kind of cool. Like, Dark is the primary type. I don't know. What do you think here? Also, I mean, Goodra is just pure Dragon, which is not bad because it's only one type.
So, who do you have as your top 3 on this one?
I like Dragapult, Baxcalibur, and probably, I don't know. I kind of like Metagross's Steel Psychic too. So I probably those 3. Probably Dragapult, Baxcalibur, and Metagross.
I think one of the more unique ones, because I mean, it is kind of generic that a Pseudo is a Dragon type,
right?
But Steel Dragon on Hisuian Goodra, I think, is so cool. It's really unique.
Yeah.
It's the only one out of these besides maybe Metagross. Like Dragonite is also pretty bulky with multi-scale, but a truly designed to be bulky Pseudo is really different.
Yeah, I agree.
in terms of because of the typing and whatever. So I think I give a lot of props to Hisuian and Gudra. I love Dragapult as the typing. I think that was a really unique typing. Seeing that in Gen 8 was awesome. So Gudra, Dragapult. I gotta give some love to T-Tar
Mm. It's a weak.
because
It's pretty weak. I know it's pretty weak typing, but
it's a cool typing. A dark rock pseudo that is not a dragon. I think is really cool, even though it looks like it should be a dragon. Um, and I think it's neat that they got rid of the ground typing for T-Tar and they replaced it with the dark type. I think that's awesome.
that is
Uh,
right. In the line, they changed that, and I guess they don't really do that. So
they
in
don't really do that. They
in,
add types.
they add, but they don't ever change. You know what? I'll give you that. I didn't look at that. That makes sense. That's a good one. I like
That's
T-Tar
pretty
there
sweet.
too.
So I
Man,
probably
this is
would
tough.
do Gudra, Dragapult, and T-Tar on that one.
So I don't know. You're kind of winning me over on the T-Tar argument that they switched the typing, and it's not dragon, which all the rest of them are dragon.
And if you watch the Celebi movie, it turns dark type. So
All right, well, we'll give the nod to T-Tar on that one then. So we had Kommo-oo on the design, and I've got T-Tar winning the cool typing. Does that work?
all right.
All right, what about viability? Interesting. So Hisui and Gudra is number one for me on this. I think Hisui and Gudra was built to be competitive. Steel Dragon typing, it's bulky. So I think Hisui and Gudra takes the cake right now for me. And then if I'm looking at it beyond that, Metagross is always competitive. I think when Metagross comes back, it's going to be on teams. So I always have to throw Metagross there. Dragonite's been in the meta, so I still see Dragonite to this day in good teams. I don't see T-Tar as much anymore. Salamence, no. Garchomp I don't see as much anymore. Although Garchomp can be used effectively if you build a team around it, but I don't see it as much. Hydreigon.
Last time I saw Salamence in the meta was when he had his mega form. And Hydreigon's niche. So like I think because Dragapult I think is used the most, right? I got this. I've seen that on the winning teams.
Yeah, I guess I've seen that on some of the regional teams. You're right. I'll give Dragapult a nod. I haven't seen Baxcalibur. Kommo-oo is niche right now. People are excited about Kommo-oo. I think Wolfie just used a team with Kommo-oo recently. So
yeah, it has unique moves.
It does. So I mean, I think we've narrowed it to kind of like a top 4 or 5. I think we've got Hisuian, Gudra, Metagross, Dragonite, Dragapult, and Kommo-oo as maybe the top used. So who do we think maybe is the most competitively viable of Hisuian, Gudra, Metagross? Like who would like? Were any of these teams on the World's winning team?
Let's see. Let's see. Let's see.
I'm trying to see. Did they?
This is 2022. I want 2020.
Yeah. Let me. I'm gonna bring this over to this other screen here just for a minute.
TCG seniors. You know what?
So his team, the team was Fluttermane. No, there were not. But I will say the runner-up had a Dragapult.
See, I thought Dragapult was up there.
And fourth place had Dragonite.
Yeah, I think the 3 is. I think the 3, honestly, I would put Dragapult first, and then I would put Gudra, and then I put Dragonite.
Dragapult. So we'll just say Dragapult is the winner for the competitive viability. All right, and then we've got like cool factor, just like it factor, wow factor.
And I think in this, it has to do with where you find them too.
Yeah,
So that comes with it as well. I will say that in gen, so I'm thinking like each gen, right? Dragonite being hidden in the Safari Zone in Gen 1 was awesome. That was pretty cool. T-Tar being found in Mount Silver was really awesome. The only sucky thing is you can never use it in the game unless you traded it in off of another copy. Which
What, you couldn't use T-Tar in Gen 2?
No, because he found it in Mount Silver, and you don't get access to Mount Silver until you get all the badges.
Oh, after the whole thing, yeah.
Yeah. Salamence, I mean...
I think, I just, Salamence is not that cool to me, but maybe...
I think he's very generic. I love him, though, but he's very generic. I would say Metagross... I'm trying to remember. You got a Beldum from Steven in Sci-Fi.
Yes, yeah, and that was pretty cool because you got it from Steven Stone.
Because that was after you beat him, right?
I think so. And he gave you a Beldum, and you got this new cool little rock thing, and you're like, what is this?
So that was pretty cool. You can only get that Pokemon from the champion. I will give some extra props to Garchomp here because finding Gible is awesome in Gen 4 because it is actually on...
Isn't it part of a story? Isn't it part of that little mini story?
No, so you find Gible under the bike pack, which you can get after having cut. Which it's cool because most people when they first played through Diamond and Pearl did not check under there. So they just kept going under over the bike path because that's actually after the second gym. I know you played Brilliant or Shining Pearl. It's the same thing. You go over the bike path after Turn to City, and then you move over going to the next.
Yeah, because I remember you stopped us when we were playing. We played together. And I remember you stopped us and you made us go down there. You're like, "We got to go down here." I'm like, "What do you mean?"
We got to get yeah, but that also means you can use the pseudo the whole playthrough almost for 6 badges.
All right, that's cool. That's cool. I'll give you that.
I like that pseudos are in separate areas that you have to go out and find. I think that's the most fun. Hydreigon is kind of similar. It's in a random cave elsewhere, but you don't get it till later. So you only get. I think you get Dino after you get Surf, which is I think 6 badges in. I just played for 1 week, but I think it's like 6 badges in. Goodra, I don't remember where you get Gumi in Gen 6. I think it's around it's late game. I don't think you get it really as early as Garchomp. Kommo-oo is really awesome because it's in the cave during the last trial. You get access to Hakmo-oo, and then Hakmo and Jangmo-oo, and then Excalibur obviously you find in the mountain.
And Dreepy you found in the wild area, right?
You found it in the wild area, but only after you could surf with the bike.
Right.
Which I think out of all of those, Dreepy's one of the best ones. Because I think Dreepy's designs, I think the whole line's design's okay. It's not like the top tier, but like when you're going through the wild area, that section of the wild area, you could see it, but you couldn't go there.
Right. You're like, I know there's something cool over there. Like I know there's something fun, and I don't know what it's going to be, but I know it's going to be cool. I remember that. I remember like I really want to go over there. I need to figure out how to get over there.
Yeah. So like all over experience, I love pseudos that you can miss very easily, but if you find them, your experience is heightened. So like that's Dragonite, that is Garchomp, that's technically Salamence, but meh. Technically Hydreigon. I think Goodra is in an off place as well. You can't just find Goodra. Kommo-oo, I would not count that because you just encounter it.
Yeah.
I would count that. Technically, Baxter has that.
Yeah. I also think we have to throw Metagross. I do love how you get Metagross from the champion. I love that you get Beldum from Steven Stone early in the game, and it's like his present to you for beating him, and you get this really cool thing. So, I don't know. It's really difficult.
Is that the same way in Emerald?
Huh?
Is that the same way in Emerald? I think it is.
I have no idea. I'm not sure. But I do. This is really hard. They're all cool. I mean, Dragonite is iconic. Like Dragonite is like Gen 1 pseudo. Everybody knows Dragonite. So like Dragonite, just for the sake of being Gen 1, gets some points. And I know that sucks, but it's like that's just a way.
Welcome to Safari Zone, which nobody like
right.
Nobody.
And I like Dratini and Dragonair in general. Like I have no problems with those 2 Pokemon. I have no.
Lance's Dragonite.
I have no idea. I know. I have no idea how Dragonair can fly, but
I think what's so also. Let's think about this too, real quick. The champion of Gen 2 had Dragonite. The champion of Gen 3 had Metagross, which I think the Metagross usage was cooler than the Dragonite usage.
mm-hmm.
Cynthia's Garchomp is iconic because of how hard it was. And I think I know that Leon had a Dragapult. And I know that what's her name? Diantha had a Goodra. So it's kind of just also in usage. I think the coolest ones and iconic ones are Cynthia's Garchomp and Steven's Metagross. And Lance's Dragonite, but Lance is known for Gyarados more than known for Dragon.
Right. So what do you think? We're going to have to come to a decision on cool here.
I think I gotta give it to Dragonite because it has, you can get it in the game and it's hidden, and if you're not looking for it, you can't find it. And if you found it, it's really exciting. In Gen 1, the last Elite Four member had it, multiple of them, and it's also the champion of Gen 2 has multiple Dragonites as well. That's the champion. That's who you have to beat. Especially in Gen 1, where he was the only Dragon type Pokemon ever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which was awesome as well.
Yeah, it was like iconic. It was like, this is the dragon. Yeah.
Like, how do you beat Dragon? Like, no, like imagine like being a kid in the '90s and you're like, this is a Dragon type Pokemon. How do I beat this?
I'll tell you, Lance's Dragonite was kind of intimidating in Gen 2. Like when you get to the champion, when I played Gen 2 for the first time, when I was young, like when I was like, however what I was, 7, 8 years old, whatever. And I played through Gen 2, and you get to Lance's Dragonite, and he has 2 Dragonites, I think. And it's like, holy crap. Like, they were powerful. And then, but you know what else is cool, and I'll tell you. Playing Gen 2, who's the final gym leader in Gen 2? What's her name?
What's her name?
Gym leader, Gen 2.
I don't remember her name. I do not remember.
I'll get there.
I don't remember her name.
Hold on, I
got it.
Blackthorn City. Her name was Claire. And
Claire.
I remember Claire had 3 Dragonairs and a Kingdra, and I remember those Dragonairs were iconic because in Gen 2 it was cool because you could find Dratini in that cave in Blackthorn City, like up behind it. It was like the Dragon City. It was known as like the Dragon City, and I remember that was so cool when I was a kid, and I got to Blackthorn City finally, and you go in that cave, and there's Dratinis and Dragonairs, and then the gym leader's this dragon thing, and then you go to the champion, and he's got Dragonites. So Gen 2 actually kind of, I think, idolized Dragonite even more, because the final gym leader has 3 Dragonairs and a Kingdra, Dragon types, and then you get to the champion, and he's got 2 Dragonites. So, like, Gen 2 actually almost idolizes Dragonite more than Gen 1 in the way it handles it. So, I don't know.
That's the winner. Cool, I think.
I think Dragonite wins the cool. So, we've got Design Kommo-oo, Cool Typing Tyranitar, Viability Dragapult, and Cool Factor or Wow Factor Dragonite. So, we have 4 different Pokemon, which is a testament to Game Freak's designing, I think. That we didn't pick the same one. So
there isn't a bad one, a bad pseudo.
So if you're looking,
those who say Goodra is a bad pseudo, screw you.
Gudra. I actually like Goodra better than I think for me Hydreigon's the worst, but huh?
I don't know about that one.
I am not a huge fan of Hydreigon.
I think Baxcalibur is the worst.
Really?
I do. I'm sorry, but like, it's just the most generic thing I've ever seen.
That makes sense.
I think it is pretty generic. Like all I see in Baxcalibur is T-Tar, but Ice type.
Yeah, I will say its ability is pretty cool. Thermal Exchange is a great ability.
Yeah, it is really cool. There's cool. I mean, there's cool things about. They're all great Pokemon. It's just like, which one? Like the best one for me, then I think overall, because I think that like honestly, like when we're looking through some of these ones that we have, I think overall Dragapult's really high up there, which is
Yeah,
surprising.
I'm looking at all the ones. So we listed Metagross in every category.
So I think Metagross has to be one of the best.
I think Metagross has to be up there, and then who else did we list in all? We listed Garchomp in everything pretty much. And I think Dragonite's in all of them. Dragonite, and I do agree that Dragapult is pretty much in all of them. So I would say, I mean, and I hate it because I love T-Tar. Like, T-Tar is probably my personal favorite, but it's not in any of these lists. So I think we each have our own...
It's in the type of list.
It is, but I think we each have our own preference. And T-Tar, I will say, you can run... So in Gen 8, what was it? What was the pairing? T-Tar, and what's the, like, mole Pokemon that's ground type?
It's Drillbur and the evolved form.
Yeah, Excadrill, right?
Excadrill, yeah.
So Tyranitar Excadrill was a pretty powerful combo because you'd Sandstorm, and it was like a sand team, and it was really good in Gen 8. Now, Gen 9, it's obviously Excadrill's not in the game, so it kind of nerfed Tyranitar's competitive viability. But T-Tar normally, because it sets sand, it's automatically somewhat viable because it can force a weather. Right? Any Pokemon that can force a weather, you can at least think about. You know, I like Pelipper is used in competitive teams because it can force the rain. So
I think our three then. I think Metagross is number one because it's in a high conversation in every category that we talked about, and then Dragonite is the next one, I think, and then 3 is Dragapult.
So say that one more time. Metagross.
I think it's Metagross number 1. I think it's Dragonite number 2. And then I think it's
I think Garchomp is more iconic though than Dragapult.
It is, but it's better. Well, no, because Garchomp.
You can run. I mean, Earthquake Garchomp is really good. Like if you run, I've seen people wreck with Terra. I think Terastallization has helped Garchomp. Terra Ground Garchomp because you get rid of. Huh?
Who would you kick out for Garchomp? Dragapult?
Yeah, Dragapult is good competitively, but like you said, there's nothing really special about it design wise, and to me, you have Mega Garchomp, which you don't have Mega Dragapult. I mean, obviously Dragapult was later, so it's kind of unfair. But you have such a. I think when people say Pseudo, I think most people would put like Garchomp. Everybody was so pumped to have Mega Garchomp in Go. Like that was like the main point of the last PKMN cast was talking about Mega Garchomp in raids. So to me, I think Metagross, Dragonite, Garchomp are the top 3,
okay.
And then I would put Dragapult number 4. And if I had to pick a 5th, just for sake, I would probably say T-Tar, just because of how just popular it is.
How awesome it is.
Yeah. So we have officially, I guess, crowned Metagross the best.
And we're gonna get him in the next DLC.
Yeah, we are. Metagross is so cool though. He like walks around, with those 4.
And Mega Metagross though.
Is that and it like doesn't he like fly and it like psychic?
It's signature Mega because Steven Stone in the remakes had a Mega Metagross and it was amazing.
That's awesome.
And hard.
That's awesome. And it's hard because just because what I needed to do right after this, I just was told we no longer have to do. So just FYI for you.
Oh, nice.
Or I don't no longer because they had a couple people there and they did it real quick and it wasn't hard. So whatever. Who's the best first stage? I'm really curious. Just out of design,
first stage,
because I'm gonna ask second stage after this because now that I have a little more time, I think this is interesting to talk about.
Goomy is up there.
Goomy, yeah.
Goomy's up there.
It's a little slug.
It's amazing. Whoever designed Goomy deserves a raise.
Dreepy's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, Larvitar is iconic.
Dratini is as well. I don't think. I think Gibble. Sorry, Garchomp fans. Gibble is not
No,
it.
I don't think
Um,
Garchomp makes that line. Not the two before
not
it.
the two. I gotta give some love to Jangmo-oo as well.
Yeah, Jangmo is pretty cute. He's got that big gold thing on his head, and he like
Yep.
looks up at you like, "Hi."
And of course, Dratini swimming in the water. Very cool.
I love Dratini.
So
Gosh.
I think we're all discovering how, like, when you compare all of them, how, like, mid Salamence is.
Salamence, I like Salamence, but I think, okay, what you said about Baxcalibur about generic, I think about Salamence. Like,
Yeah,
it's
Salamence.
kind of a generic, I get what they're doing, but Shelgon is terrible.
Shogun.
Shelgon is probably the worst middle. Bagon,
Yes.
Bagon is, I mean, whatever. It looks like a fossil more than it looks like a first Evo of a pseudo. And Salamence is cool, but I also think, like, again, it's dragon flying. It's not even original in its typing. It copied Dragonite. So, I mean, I know people. Okay, the points that Salamence get, is for Roaring Moon. That's where Salamence gets points. The Paradox or whatever Pokemon in Gen 9, that mon is very competitively viable, and I guess we didn't give Salamence credit for that. That it does have a, and so does T-Tar. T-Tar's got it too, but not T-Tar's isn't quite as good. I think it's hilarious. They said that I think it's like Iron. What's T-Tar's Paradox? Iron.
I don't remember its name.
Paradox. What? Sorry, I almost got it. Iron Shreds, right? No, Iron Thorns. That's what it is. Iron Thorns. So I think the trivia is that Iron Thorns is the only Paradox Pokemon to have lower stats than the Pokemon it's based on.
That sucks.
Because Tyranitar has higher stats than that. But Roaring Moon is a very good mon and is used in competitive. That Terra Flying Acrobatics Roaring Moon is a really, really good Pokemon. So
Yeah.
But I agree, Salamence on its own is not very.
So
Yeah.
for me, I think Gumi's number 1. Dratini's 2. And I think I gotta give it to Jangmo-oo for 3.
Yeah. I'm a Gen 2 baby. I think Larvitar is iconic. I love I would probably go. I like Dratini best because I've always loved Dratini. I think
I'd replace Jangmo-oo for Larvitar.
I think Dratini, Larvitar, and then probably Jangmo-oo. So we're probably gonna. I think Dratini's pretty good. How about middle, real quick?
Middle evolution.
I think Dragonair's up there, just like
I think Dragonair's 1. Dragonair is such an amazing design because if you look at all the other middle stage, they're all so awkward.
They are.
Like Zweilous.
Okay, I think Arctibax is actually not bad. Baxcalibur's middle evolution. It's like a small.
Yeah, I would give Arctibax a lot of love there because I think it's one of the best middle stage ones. Metang is pretty sweet.
Yeah. It's funny because we said Pupitar was bad, but of the middle Evos, it's actually not terrible compared to some of the other.
Evos kind of suck.
I mean,
like Dragonair number 1, automatically, it is a top tier design in
yeah,
general.
and they use it like there are 3 Dragonairs in the 8th Gym Leader in Gen 2. Like they use Dragonair. Very rare.
And honestly, it's better. The pure dragon in that game is better than the dragon flying type.
Right. Oh, that's true. Like the only other, I mean, I guess you have Sheldon and you have Sligo. Sligo's bad. I'm sorry.
Because it was hard.
Sligo.
You had to catch a Swinub or a Jinx to even have a chance, unless you picked Totodile for Ice Fang. But like that was a really hard gym.
The 8th gym in Gen 8.
Yeah, and you caught Swinub, it was so under leveled because all the wild Pokemon in Gen 2 suck. They're all like level 20 the entire time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, it's That's a tough gym. I mean, and to be honest with you, like Kingdra was really hard too in that gym. Like Kingdra was a tough mod to beat.
Water Dragon.
Yeah.
That was Gyarados' typing that they were going to give to Gyarados, and then they did.
Kingdra is amazing, by the way. I love Kingdra, but I really want them to bring Horsey back in this because I actually for a little bit in Gen 8 I used Polytoad Kingdra, competitive. Okay, so we're giving it to Dragonair. So basically, we're saying that the Gen 1 line is just really good, and then, but we put Metagross on top with as far as Okay, cool. All right, let's do Pokemon of the day. How about that? So I'm just going to type Pokemon.com. I'm going to scroll down and we'll see what we get. Okay.
Okay.
Pidove is what I'm seeing.
Pidove. Right.
So our Pokemon is Pidove. So let me jump over to do. Let me get some trivia on Pidove. Pidove is the tiny pigeon Pokemon. It was introduced in Generation 5, which makes sense because it kind of looks like a pigeon, like tiny pigeon Pokemon, which makes sense for New York, right? Because pigeons fly in New York, so it's on theme. Normal flying. It was probably Route 1 bird, right?
Route 1 bird.
Okay. And let me go to... So let's see. Oh, so I didn't realize it had a different gender-based second Evo. That's cool. So, like, the Unfezant...
Yeah.
Unfezant male and female look different. That's cool.
Depending on the gender.
Oh, look at it in the anime. It's so cute. Ash has a Pidove. Okay.
Ash did have a Pidove. He had an Unfezant.
Which gender?
I think he had the bald one, whichever one that is.
A female?
Well, now I got an ad from Bulbapedia, so this is great.
Well, I can go to it evolved in a certain episode. With her new form and found vigor, yeah, it's female.
Okay, so the bald one's female.
Okay, so it's only been in one game. Oh my god, it only has one Pokédex. It's literally.
Pidove was not really a popular bird.
Oh, it has Never mind, it's been in a lot. It was in Sword and Shield and X and Y.
It was in Sword and Shield, X and Y. Yeah, so I have a few Pokédex features in this one.
So let me do some trivia. So Pidove is bad. 264 total. It's weak to rock, electric, and ice as a normal flying type. Let's see some of the moves it can learn: Sky Attack, Air Slash. Let me go to trivia. Pidove is the only Pokemon with a base stat total of 264. Hi, Maxie. Hello. Pidove was designed by Raiko Tanao. So let me show some of the other Pokemon that this person's designed. Snivy. They've designed only 3. Snivy, Pidove, and Sewaddle. It's the only 3 Pokemon that that individual has designed. Pidove is tied with Tailo, Wingull, Starly, and Pikipek for the lowest base special defense stat of all flying types. Okay. Which that special defense stat is 30. All right, give us the Pokedex entries.
All right, so Pokedex entries. Not a lot for Pidove here, but I have a few. So in Pokemon Black, each follows its trainer's orders as best as it can, but they sometimes fail to understand complicated commands. So it's stupid. Pokemon White, these Pokemon live in cities. They are accustomed to people. Flocks often gather in parks and plazas, which is exactly what Dove.
Nice. Very nice.
Or pigeons or whatever. Pigeons or whatever.
Very nice.
So Pokemon Black 2 and White 2 have the same dex entry for it. This is a forgetful Pokemon. This is a very forgetful Pokemon who will wait for a new order from its trainer even though it already has one. So it's dumb, apparently. So we're gonna get to Generation 6, which it was in X and Y and in Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire. This very forgetful Pokemon will wait for a new order from its trainer, even though it already has one. So that's repeat from White, or repeat from Black 2, White 2. These Pokemon live in cities. They're accustomed to people. Flocks often gather in partial plazas. Thing as the first Gen 5 games. Wow, this sucks. It's the same Dex entry all through Gen 6. So Omega Ruby has X's Dex entry. Alpha Sapphire has Y's.
Okay.
Which sucks. So, but it had new Dex entries for Sword and Shield.
Well, it says, wait a minute, it says this Pokemon has no Dex entries in... Oh, so it wasn't in BDSP, obviously, and it wasn't in Legends Arceus. Gotcha.
Nope, it was not. The last game it was in was Galar. So, in Sword, where people go, these Pokemon follow. If you scatter food for them, be careful. Several hundred of them can gather.
That makes
which
sense.
is very much like a city bird. And then Shield, it's forgetful and not very bright. But many trainers love it anyway for its friendliness and sincerity.
Oh.
So,
all right.
Sword and Shield is the best Dex entries for this thing, but all we learned is that it's dumb and it stays around cities.
And it's sweet.
So, yes.
All right. Well, that's Pidove. Alrighty. Well, anything else you want to mention for the good of the order today?
No, it's pretty good. Now all we know is Metagross is one of the best pseudos.
Tell us in the comments who you think the best pseudo is.
Yeah, tell us about how we're wrong. Tell us how wrong we were. Give us your list. Now I'll reply saying how bad your list is. And then we can participate in the negativity of the internet.
Yeah, exactly.
So, good time.
Alrighty, well, thank you everybody for listening. This has been the Elite 2 podcast. I'm Brandon. This is Logan signing off. Thank you so much. We'll be streaming again this next week, hopefully. Try to do more competitive battling and stuff, and maybe some raids. So you'll see us there, and maybe a video or two along the way. Have a great week, and we'll talk to you next time. Bye bye.